Situation. South Africa facing a crisis of youth unemployment, as we heard in our conversation earlier, and a struggling tourism industry that's just about getting the wheels turning again post-pandemic. Now, unemployed young people are being used to turbocharge tourism, and it's being spearheaded by the Youth Employment Service, known to you and I as YES, and Sanlam's Youth for Tourism, aiming to create thousands of jobs for young people who will revive the sector. YES CEO Ravi Naidoo joins us virtually from down the road in Rosebank here in Johannesburg. Ravi, thank you for your time this morning. I just finished speaking to a colleague of mine at a YFM, and they're having a big youth conference in Mill Park later on today, talking about ways and means to get young people reignited and excited about the space, as they call it, contentpreneurship. Now you're talking about doing the same, but in the tourism industry, where we know so much potential lies for our economy. Tell us about this new project with Sanlam, Youth for Tourism.
Yes, thanks very much. Very good to be chatting to you just from down the road. So the Youth Employment Service is a private sector initiative, and it works with about 1,500 companies. And we've been supporting with those companies about 3,000 new youth jobs per month, drone pilots, coding, baristas, content creators, a whole range of those things. And there's about 114,000 youth to date. And what we want to do now is also target not just jobs across the economy, but particular sectors. So tourism obviously is a key sector because A, it's good for youth, it's in terms of youth jobs, but it has a huge boost for the economy. When tourists come in, you know, they're not just booking a plane ticket, they also are going to be going to restaurants and shopping, and you know, more construction will happen because you have to host them and so on. So it's a good turbo boost for the economy, and we think that what will turbo boost tourism to do that is things like content creation. So, you know, the visual materials that make people excited about what we have to offer in South Africa. So it is very much about content creation, the websites, the things that draw people into the South African market, and that really requires a lot of youth skills in that. So that's the first part of our program, is working with Sanlam as the key founding partner, but other corporates as well joining, to get youth into this critical parts of tourism, and then tourism itself, as it grows, really then boosts the rest of the country. So we think it's kind of wheels within wheels, and this is a real catalytic project.
It might be a bit early to talk about, but perhaps you can just let us in on how the inner workings of this Youth for Tourism is going to work. I mean, we're seeing different kind of projects. The Premier a couple of weeks ago had young people queuing with clutching their CVs desperately in the hope of getting some vacant government jobs. Of course, you've got lots of online initiatives. Some people are saying you don't even need physical CVs anymore. Who specifically are you targeting here? Are you targeting young people who are qualified in a hospitality sector or in the digital space, or will you also be providing some kind of skills upgrade for those who want to step into the industry connected to tourism? Explain to us perhaps the blueprint of how the inner workings of Youth for Tourism will be working.
So we would be very supportive of all the jobs programs in the countries, but our program would be quite different in that it's really focused on the private sector contribution in the main. So it'll be different from the ones that you mentioned previously. So we are looking. So essentially, the youth would be selected from our databases and from our partners and so on. And they would come in, they would be talented people, but who otherwise wouldn't get the opportunity. And they would be going into content creation jobs. So they'd be working with partners who will train them further on photography and sort of SEM models and SEO models, and how to work in the content creation space. So that's phase one. And we would also have a component of the program that will work on the development of the mice industry. Mice industry is obviously not the rodents. It's the people that are dealing with meetings and conventions and events sector. So we're building up an academy for that. And that will work, for example, in conjunction with partners like the Cape Town Convention Center as well. And then we're looking also at having a number of youth going into guides academies where they really get trained up to be expert guides for key components of the South African tourism industry. And all those things are quite pivotal. So companies are joining to sponsor those youth jobs, and they might absorb them into their program, or they go into these academies. So that's the first thing. And so we're obviously looking for more corporate partners to join, because the more corporate partners that join, the more sponsorships and hosts we have for these programs. So at the moment, it's Sanlam as the key founder, but we've had already support now from Mercedes-Benz and Ford. Pizza Hut have also joined, so there'll be more corporates in that space. And then beyond that, the program will then start to also look at supporting other job categories like chefs and event coordinators and a whole range of things where we think a supply of quality youth jobs and skills will really boost the tourism sector and then the economy.
Well, we've run out of time, but very quickly, let us know young people who want to get involved as well as corporates who want to get involved. Where can they find out more information and get in touch?
So you go to Yes for Youth, the number 4. So yesforyouth.co.za. And then there's a page there that'll link you as a corporate, where to go, and you as a youth that wants to take advantage of some of these opportunities, where to go.
Okay, fantastic. Simple enough. That's Ravi Naidoo, CEO of Youth Unemployment Services. Yes is how they're known to us, doing some fantastic work. Just in April, I remember it being reported that they'd reached the 100,000 jobs mark. And the more of that kind of development and progress, the better for everybody here in South Africa. So we thank Ravi for his time this morning. Now on to this.